Okay, hi guys. I am back with a new tutorial. This time, as promised before, the tutorial would be on cytopathology. As I've already said, that I would be alternating between hematology and cytopathology in future for all my tutorials. Thank you so much guys for showing me so much love. All my videos they cross above say 300 views. We are very close to becoming a strong family of 400 subscribers now, something which I had not expected. Thank you so much. And this is offhand, but one thing that I like so much about all my videos is that the number of subscribers that I have almost match the number of views that I get on each of the videos, especially my hematology videos. So this is very satisfying to me that even if the kind of videos that I'm making, they are helping out these number of people, or they are people are these number of people are able to understand it, and hence they are following these videos. So it gives me a sense of satisfaction also, and it motivates me also to bring new things for whoever is listening to me. So kindly excuse me if I make a mistake somewhere. I'm also in a learning process, and I thank you so much for all your love and support. It is much appreciated. It motivates me to do better. So without wasting much time, I am going to be moving on with this part of my cytopathology tutorial, which is the second part. The first part is there available on my channel. So those who have not seen it can go. It is the same pattern as the hematopathology video, where I will just be discussing a few basic points and then the pitfalls. Before I move on, I would like to share some good news with you. We have at our institute, since our institute is a COVID care institute, been able to perform couple of studies based on the pathology of the disease. None of them involving the patient, of course. All of them have been performed on the routine samples that we received. Some are quantitative studies, some are purely qualitative observations, and couple of them have been published in PubMed indexed journals and high level preprint platforms, and are in those papers, the preprint paper on MedRx IV. It is in process of we are in talks with one of the PubMed index journals from USA, which has picked it up from the platform. And all of these papers have been published in MCI recognized journals. So if you are interested in the basic pathology, the morphology of COVID-19, please you can search these papers on Google, and you can read them. So this was a good news that I wanted to share with you. So, and we are still doing some research, all ethically approved. And I have no, there's a disclaimer that I have no monetary interest or no interest otherwise also in showing you this, except that this was a piece of good news. So I wanted to share with the people who see me, the people who listen to me, all my friends, and you all are like my friends and my juniors and my colleagues. So this was just a piece of good news that I wanted to share with you all. So moving on. So the previous video that I had made on benign lesions, I'll try and keep this video short because I'm not, as you can see from my background, I'm not at my original place at my home right now. So I'll try and keep this video short, but since I always make it a point to upload one video every week, some of my juniors had asked me to do that. So I'm trying to maintain that tempo. So I am uploading this from another place. Anyways, this is just a continuation of what I had talked about in the last video. In the last video, I had shown you the basic architecture. I had shown you the regions where what kind of cell is. I had shown you these cells as this slide, the one I have on the frame right now, where I had told you how to recognize a particular cell on the cytology smear and how does a reactive smear looks like. So I'm not going to be dealing with the basics too much. For those who are also interested in the IHC and the flow, I would be taking it further on. not right now, but still for those who are avid readers who want to read this thing before, you can go and read the first few chapters of WHO or the Washington Manual of Surgery. Both these books are good. For cytopathology, there are multiple books. What I have read is Orell's and Gray's. There's Pranab Day, and again, there's no monetary interest in just telling you the books that I've heard, seen, or read myself. Okay, there are really good authors available. You can go online and check. Washington Manual, I find the chapter on lymph node brilliant, especially when you've read it once from a good book, from a big book. Now, by Washington in itself is a good book, but from a proper textbook. Whereas Gray's is good. WHO, of course, is the Bible for anyone for any chapter. So this slide I'll repeat just for those who had not seen the previous lecture. The previous lecture has more than what I am starting right now. So please, if you see that and then see this, you'll understand this lecture better. So starting off, as I had shown you the last time, this was a reactive lymph node background cytology smear. You saw a mature naive B cell. You saw that a centroblast has 3 nucleoli at the periphery. Over here you could see it. A cleaved cell was a centrocyte. Here you can see it. Immunoblast had 1 single nucleoli, again a large cell with 1 single nucleoli. Plasma blasts eccentrically placed, not very well cartwheel, a little larger in size. And finally the plasma cell with a Hoff, small size and eccentric. These are the reactive populations that you can see in a smear. So what we had done last time was we had tried to identify this could probably be, I don't know, an immunoblast. This was, I think, centrocyte. Then I think this was an immunoblast. I think this was a centroblast. So this is the activity that we had done in the end, and I wanted to show you this lymphoglandular body. What lymphoglandular body is, what is its importance, I have discussed in the previous tutorial. So please go and see. I had also taken the basic architecture of lymph node, and I had shown you that this is the capsule, this is the extracapsular fatty soft tissue. Then there is a subcapsular sinus. This place is the favorite place for metastasis to occur of any primary epithelial, non-epithelial neoplasm. Sometimes you get a very small focus of a originating lymphoma. You might get there. I have seen a case, not literally seen a case, I have read about a case which was of anaplastic large cell lymphoma, which was not actually starting in the capsule, but the first cluster that the pathologist isolated was subcapsular. Then I had told you that any lymph node has a cortex, a paracortex, and a medullary area. The paracortex is predominantly a T cell rich area. The cortex has a primary and a secondary follicle. Primary follicle has naive cells. Secondary follicle will only be formed, it has a light and gray area, and it will only be formed when an antigen from outside comes into the lymph node and stimulates the follicle. The lighter area is has these centroblasts, centrocytes, which are activated B lineage cells because the cortex is predominantly B cell, and the medulla has a mixture of plasma cells, macrophages, dendritic cells, etc. There were septal fibers going down, and along these fibers pass the venules and the arteries through which the antigen comes and goes, and the cells are released into the blood smear. In the blood, the activated cells once the antigen comes. Also one thing that I forgot to mention last time was that there is something known as a polarization of the cortex, which you see on histopathology. Polarization means that you can see a maintained light area and a darker area. Over here, actually this is a very small micrograph. When I take histopath, I'm going to discuss that in detail. In one secondary germinal center, the pale central area has a darker bluish area and a lighter bluish area. The darker bluish area is the centroblast containing area. The lighter bluish area is the centrocyte containing area. Here you don't see that very clearly. Alright, so I'm not trying to mark this out. What you see over here, this is the mantle zone, this dark area, and then comes the marginal zone. And you need to know about these zones because various lymphomas, depending on their maturity, originate from these zones. Also, again, I'll take this later on when I'm taking histopath. Different types of lymphomas, as per the maturity of the cell, when they originate from these areas, they show particular surface or cytoplasmic cell markers. Like CD20, BCL2, these stains on IHC are more specific to the germinal center. CD10, a very specific follicular lymphoma. Follicular lymphoma originates from the germinal center. You will get CD23, CD21. These dendritic cells are present in the germinal centers and they form a meshwork in a normal smear. If you stay in a normal smear with BCL2, you will not get the activity in the germinal center because it is an apoptotic marker, anti-apoptotic. And the germinal center keeps having active apoptosis. Why? The immature B cells, when they come in contact with an antigen, some will form mature, they get activated. These naive immature B cells, they start transforming themselves. There will be some cells which will not be able to complete that immunity transformation process and they will die. And the ones that are fine, they have no autoimmunity property, they are totally good for body's immunity, they will be allowed to mature and form memory cells or fighter cells, whatever is needed, helper cell, whatever is needed at that moment. Now what happens is, and hence this germinal center has high degree of apoptosis. All those cells which have been activated but are somehow not recognized by the body to be safe will be killed. And that is why you get something known as stingable body macrophages in these germinal centers. These macrophages eat up these dead cells and look like starry sky, cloud filled with starry sky on low power. And to promote that apoptotic activity, we have to shut down the BCL2 gene, which stops apoptosis. BCL2 is an anti-apoptotic gene. While rest of the lymph node, barring those cortex, barring this follicle, will be stained brilliantly khaki brown in IHC with BCL2 in a normal person, just to show you that there is apoptosis going on in rest of the lymph node except these germinal centers. Now this is a bit too much information to process. So for those of you who are not understanding it, it is all right. Because I'll be repeating it when I take up lymph nodes in histopathology. I just told you that because you should have an idea. Some words that I speak might just stick with you. So when you hear it again or read it again, you might understand it better. Okay. So if you don't understand it right now, it's all right. I had dealt with the simpler form of this diagram in the last lecture. So for those who are not understanding can go and listen to that lecture. Okay, then now coming, since I have already dealt with the benign lymph nodes, excuse me, I'll just take a sip from my coffee. Okay, thank you. So now what I've tried to do over here is, I'm only going to be dealing with malignant lesions. I have shown you the benign lesions and the mimickers last time. So if there is lymphadenopathy, first we have to differentiate, and you think that it is malignant. Clinically, the patient might present with multiple lymph nodes, organomegaly. Age, you have to see कि old age patient है, क्या है. Suppose I'll give an example. It's a child with pancytopenia or leukocytosis and multiple lymph nodes. You are going not to think of lymphoma first and metastasis second. I am not dealing with benign lesions, so I'm not taking them as examples also. Supposing you have a 68-year-old male or a female, and then you get some sort of maybe pancytopenia, you just get multiple lymph nodes. They can be lymphoma, but the first thought that will come to your mind is a metastatic malignancy. And that too, clinically you have to assess कि वो lymph node कहाँ है. Neck का lymph node है तो it could be a laryngeal carcinoma. Axillary का है तो it could be a breast carcinoma. Inguinal है, it could be some inguinal region. Retroperitoneal lymph nodes हैं, then you have to go for some other liver है या कहीं है. Gastric adenoma. Do you know about the Werkhaus node, gallbladder carcinoma? Supraclavicular lymph node, very very particular for left supraclavicular lymph node. Surgery में आपने पढ़ा होगा. Metastasis के लिए बहुत important lymph node होता है. Also the concept of sentinel lymph node biopsies and cytology is important here. Sentinel lymph node is that lymph node which drains, first lymph node draining the area where you presume the cancer is. So in that case, Once a surgery is being performed, that is where the concept of frozen section came. Supposing someone has a breast cancer, the surgery MRM हो रहा है उसका, and the surgeon gives you a quick biopsy of the central lymph node कि frozen में देख के बताइए involved है कि नहीं. If the central lymph node appears to be involved in a frozen section, they are going to reject everything out. If it is not, they might leave it there. So that is important in both the surgery and the staging also. So presuming, I will keep drinking my coffee, I'm sorry. Presuming that it is malignant, we first take the history to identify whether it could be metastatic or a lymphoma. Fine. So here they've also given an angle for infections. I'm not taking this. I've already taken it. So if it is metastasis, then as I said, clinically you have to ascertain where the primary could be, and then go for the lymph node examination. If it is a lymphoma, now that is of our interest today, then we have to, supposing you do an FNAC, and this chart is actually for histopathology. Because in an FNAC, what you'll get is a monomorphic population of atypical looking lymphoid cells. Sometimes if it is Hodgkin's, you might get Hodgkin cells on a background of eosinophils. ALCL has a lot of reactive background with few large bizarre looking cells. I've shown that in my first lecture, with maybe cytoplasmic activation. Mostly the definition of a lymphoma on FNAC is monomorphic, मतलब एक जैसा दिखने वाला, population of lymphoid cells. Rarely would you see a tingable body macrophage, but in some lymphomas you can see lymphoglandular bodies. So you can give an idea of what kind of lymphoma it would be on cytology, but you have to confirm it with histopath and finally IHC or tissue flow. ठीक है, टिश्यू आजकल बायोप्सी लेके उसे लिक्विफाई करके उसको भी फ्लो लगता है. FNAC में अगर मटेरियल नहीं आ रहा, और FNAC की मटेरियल में भी फ्लो लगता है. So normally when we give a diagnosis of lymphoma on cytology, we just give it as suggestive of lymphoproliferative disorder, and then we give our differentials, which I'll show you how you can catch some lymphomas, but you have to go for a biopsy, IHC or flow, whichever you prefer. So what happens here is, this chart shows you how to proceed in a biopsy actually, because there's not much that you can do on a cytology alone. So you see that whether the lymphomatous process, it is diffuse, means effacing the entire architecture, or nodular, means the histopath image that I showed, it is focally involved or diffusely involved. So whenever you assess a lymph node on a microscope, which is a biopsy, always start with a scanner view, because architecture बहुत important होता है. सीधे 40 पे या 100 पे जाओगे तो सेल मॉर्फोलॉजी हर बार इंपॉर्टेंट उतनी नहीं होती, बिकॉज हर बार आप डिफ्रेंशिएट नहीं कर पाएंगे बिकॉज ऑफ द ओवरलैप. What is more important is instead the effacement of the architecture first. I have dealt with it before, that there are some benign lesions also which might mimic a lymphoma. Okay, so you have to be very careful when you are examining a lymphoma. Then this thing is given in Washington manual, the differentiation based on the size of the cell. Please go and read it, important in cytology, Washington Manual of Surgical Pathology, the chapter on lymph nodes. Normally if you see large cells, both on cytology and histopath, it has to be a DLBCL or some other tumor like that. If you read the WHO, now you will know that apart from so many varieties of DLBCLs which it is given, it is also given you a concept of high grade double hit lymphomas, triple hit lymphomas, and double expressor lymphomas. Now what they are, I'm going to take when I take up lymphomas, so don't worry if you don't understand it today. Something very easy, just sounds a bit too technical. So WHO has given you a spectrum of these lymphomas now. So इस chart से beyond जा चुकी है diagnosis, but for starters this is quite a good chart to consider, to make a base. Okay. Intermediate cell size है, it could be lymphoblastic, Burkitt's, ठीक है, or it could be PTCL NMS. Small size है in a diffuse pattern, it could be SLL, CLL, etc. नोडुलर इन्वॉल्वमेंट है, मार्जिनल जोन एंड मैंटल सेल लिम्फोमास होते हैं इंटरमीडिएट साइज के. फॉलिकुलर लिम्फोमास में व्हाट यू गेट इज एक्चुअली दोस क्लीव्ड सेल्स, सेंट्रोसाइट लाइक सेल्स. And there's an entire grading system again given in WHO 1, 2, 3AB depending on the number of centrocytes you see in each field, and that grades the lymphoma actually. So you have to please go and read WHO for that, okay, because that is basically a histopathology thing. I am taking cyto right now. Then again, the IHC pattern that you see is for is not only lymphomas. You have to delineate between a MET and a lymphoma. So don't get confused by seeing this. I'll just tell you in a very simplified way. There are so many lymphomas which will look epithelial in origin to you when you see the lymph node biopsy, or even when you see the SNEC. Sometimes I have experienced that in a man who had a submandibular lymphoma. It was an intermediate grade lymphoma. Unfortunately, he was lost to follow-up. And I saw this in my first year of SRship. And unfortunately, I was inexperienced enough to first think, could it be a epithelial metastasis, because he had a history of Buddha-Choy. However, later on, whatever morphologically my seniors explained to me, it was an intermediate grade lymphoma, which to an unexperienced eye looked like a epithelial tumor. So whenever you get a lymph node like that, and you are fortunate enough to make a smear on a coated slide for IHC or immunocytochemistry, if I might use the word over here, always and always go for an epithelial marker first, like cytokeratin, etc. Once your cytokeratin is positive, there are few lymphomas which give cytokeratin as positive. However, corroborating everything, you can be more sure of the fact that it has to be epithelial rather than lymphoma, or it has to be that rare lymphoma rather than epithelial. Clinically correlate karna padega, but at least you'll get a direction. Now when your pan cytokeratin comes positive, you can then, so you know it has to be some other origin rather than hematolymphoid. In most of the cases, this is the case. You can look at the lymphoma or the tumor, the metastasis, and then decide कि क्या morphology लग रही है और आपको क्या क्या rule out कराना है, and then you apply for a pattern. Supposing you are getting keratinocytes also in the background, you might think of a squamous, you are getting a glandular formation somewhere, you might think of adeno, you are getting large cells, blue, but not looking exactly like a lymphoma, you can think of a soft tissue tumor, you are getting rosettes, neuropils, again PNETs. So that is how you go. However, if the pan-cytokeratin, as in majority of the cases, it is negative, you go for a LCA CD45. With this, let me tell you, LCA को interpret करना थोड़ा मुश्किल होता है, इसलिए now most centers don't do it, but you still can do it. And then you will be sure कि yeah, this could be a lymphoma. Because epithelial tumors don't have a CD45. Normally, lymphoma only presents. Another important thing that you need to rule out is a melanoma. Melanoma can mimic anything in the world. Soft tissue, epithelial, lymphoma, anything. A melanoma can mimic anything in the world. So HMB45 and S100 and now MART1 melanine, these are good stains if you look for pigments, but then there are amelanocytic melanomas also. So a lot of, as I had said in my previous lecture, you have to corroborate a lot of things with the clinical finding and then your morphology. And then you decide a panel. So there comes the importance of morphology for all the new pathologists. We always say the flow है, molecular है, NG ऐसे, no है, but ये कौन बताएगा कि लगना क्या है? You can't, it's too expensive. You can't put everything, and you have to reach to a diagnosis and then confirm it with these methods, rather than trying to diagnose using these methods. And you will understand the cost implications and the technical manual implications of this as you graduate from the MD and then you come in the actual world of practice. So moving on, this chart I've shown you, this is a very good chart from Orell's, which shows you कि lymphoma के different type of cells दिखते कैसे हैं. ठीक है, these are B cell lymphomas, these are T cell lymphomas, this is Hodgkin's. What I'll tell you in a general thing is, जो T cell lymphomas होते हैं, T, they have a lot of nuclear membrane irregularity. Brain के shape के Sézary cells होते हैं. फ्लावर, क्लोवर लीफ इज ये इस तरीके का जो पत्ता होता है, ठीक है, लौंग का पत्ता, क्लोवर लीफ shaped or walnut shaped, something like this, like a brain maybe. So, and then you can see nucleoli or some bizarre form of nuclear regularity, but they'll otherwise be very uniform. But the nucleus will be very irregular. While B cells can be of all large, small, they may mimic a immunoblast, they may mimic a centroblast, they have a lot of nucleoli, they might not have, they mimic a plasma blast, they have cytoplasmic vacuoles that even T can have, but mostly B have it. And however, you will not see these clover leaf and all that, वो nuclear cleaving and all that, वो उतना B में नहीं होती है. Hodgkin's, we all know, prominent eosinophilic nucleoli, owl's eye appearance, popcorn cells, we've all read that. So Hodgkin's पकड़ना उतना मुश्किल नहीं होता है. Now, coming to the pitfalls, as I said, I'm not going to be taking an entire lecture. This I wanted to show you because you can see these spindly cells in a lymph node. You can see it sometimes. These spindly cells. जब बहुत विगरस एफिनेसी आप करते हो तो कई बार स्ट्रोमल कंपोनेंट एस्पिरेट हो जाता है. दिस कैन बी एडमिक्स्ड विद, जैसे इसमें अगर आप अप्रिशिएट करो बैकग्राउंड में लिम्फोइड सेल्स भी हैं और थोड़े आरबीसीज भी हैं. So this can be admixed with this or come out separately and confuse you कि ये कहीं metastasis तो नहीं है. This can also confuse you. I think I have the slide आगे. Let me just see. No, I just verbally said. This can confuse you with an angiosarcoma. This can confuse you with any spindle cell tumor. Also, sometimes you might pull out an entire vessel in vigorous FNAC. And the cells there will also be spindly, and that can confuse you with a stromal component or an angiosarcoma metastasis or something like that. Now, a way to differentiate this, if it is a vessel, the spindly cells will be, you can make out in a line as if they are following a sheath kind of a thing. Stromal component will have spindly cells haphazardly, but they'll be मतलब there will be a structure to it. ऐसा नहीं कि यहाँ पड़ा होगा एक यहाँ पड़ा होगा, but they will not be in line like this, जैसे कि endothelial lining में होता है. And they will be accompanied by lymphocytes. Angiosarc will have other things also, rather than just Kaposi sarcoma. Very common. It is spindly, so it will not be just plump spindle gland cells with lymphocytes. You will get other features of Kaposi's, other features of malignancies. Rather than just presence of a spindle cell. So spindle cell देख के तुरंत ये मत सोचो कि non lymphoid होगा. It could be lymphoid and you might have pulled out some extra material which should not have been pulled out. Okay. Next, now coming to a few pictures of lymphoma. See, when you get a picture like this is monomorphic and lymphoid. तो दो columns हमारे tick हो गए, तो हमने ये बता दिया lymphoma है. नाउ हमारा एफर्ट क्या है? एफर्ट ये है कि हम ये डिलिनेट शायद कर पाए कि ये कौन सा लिम्फोमा है. सो इफ यू लुक एट दिस, यू कैन, इफ आई डोंट चेंज द कलर एंड फाइंड द पेन अ बिट, यहाँ पे ये क्लीविंग दिख रही है. ये देखो यहाँ, ये देखो ये, ठीक है, ये देखो ये क्लीविंग दिख रही है. दीज आर सेंट्रोसाइट लाइक लिम्फोमा सेल्स. बेसिकली व्हाट दिस इज द फॉलिकुलर लिम्फोमा. So here on FNAC I can make out कि ये क्या निकलेगा हिस्टोपैथ में, but इसका flow या IHC on histopath is important to confirm. Verbally काम नहीं चलेगा सर. Okay. Excuse me. Coming to the next image. Again monomorphic population, but the cells इससे compare करोगे तो ये थोड़े ज़्यादा बड़े हैं, थोड़े मोनोसाइटॉइड हैं, RBCs एक polymorph भी दिख रहा है. Now, what I can, to the best of my effort, make out is that this is an NHL. HL का कोई इसमें वो नहीं है. I'm not very sure what this could be. I can take a guess that since these cells look mimic a blast in leukemia, जब leukemia में lymphoblast PS में आता है तो कई बार ऐसा ही दिखता है. Could be, I'm not sure, I might be wrong. This could be a blastoid variant of mantle cell. So I can decide a pattern of IHC that I need to confirm this diagnosis. This picture I've shown you before. See a beautiful mast cell over here with dense granules. Now what you see here are some large cells, see plasmacytoid, these again, and you see these large cells and then these some normal looking. मतलब थोड़े बड़े but not exactly. Now this is not exactly monomorphous, kind of a polymorphous population, and you have both the populations look abnormal. This sometimes can confuse someone with a reactive lymph node. To an amateur eye, they might also think कि reactive होगा, centroblast होंगे, centrocyte होंगे, immunoblast होगा. This is actually ALCL. And ALCL has this property at times of showing EMA cytokeratin positive, not exactly cytokeratin but EMA positivity. EMA positive होता है कभी कभी. There again you get confused. So don't worry. These are the pitfalls I am telling you. And even I made a lot of mistakes, and now I have started becoming confident about it in my 3rd year of SRship. So you'll slowly learn, and it's not so tough as it looks. Moving on. See, again, I wanted to show you, this is another ALCL. I wanted to show you these big bizarre cells present with what might look normal to some people over here. Alright. So you have to be very careful when examining a lymph node. This everyone will know. I don't need to say so many vacuoles in large monomorphic cells. This is a Burkitt's lymphoma. Fine, I don't need to explain this. Then this again, there is another ALCL. You can see this abnormal image. I find PAC to be a very good stain to diagnose lymphomas. So you can, this is just an image showing multiple pictures and different stains of an ALCL. And I wanted to show you in low power. This is not exactly monomorphic. This is not exactly monomorphic like this. This is a Burkitt's, so monomorphic. But this is not exactly monomorphic. But still it's a lymphoma. Okay. Another, see, these cells, hallmark cells of ALCL. I am stressing on ALCL. See, the new vacuoles are on the nucleus in the cytoplasm. Because ALCL is one diagnosis which will be missed by you, and I know it has been missed by me also. Reactive lymph node, bizarre, EBV समझ के हम छोड़ देते हैं. We have to be very careful to look for such bizarre cells in a reactive lymph node where a child is presenting to you with lymphadenopathy which is not getting corrected. Benign mimicker of this kind of a lesion can be infective mononucleosis. I have taken that last time, so I am not discussing too much. Then, as promised, this is a nice Hodgkin cell. You can see these nucleoli. This must be a Ginsa stain. And bilobe nucleus. So, Hodgkin's you won't have too much of problems. This I've taken before, not I remember. Apart from the lymphoma cells, what confuses you sometimes are types of macrophages. Macrophage पहचानना आपको धीरे-धीरे सीखना पड़ेगा. With the kind of opened up nucleus, they have an wispy, abundant cytoplasm. And most of the times they'll be showing hemophagocytosis or apoptotic debris, or if it is a disease process, because I think I missed it in the benign, then you can see certain things which can lead you to a diagnosis in a case where you are getting confused with a lymphoma. I'll take a few examples over here. This is a macrophage which has eaten up parasite. So here what you see are parasite, nucleus and a wispy cytoplasm. So this was basically LD body and Leishmania donovanasus with multiple lymph nodes. This again is a macrophage which has again eaten something up. I'm not very sure what could be these cells in the surrounding. So this and this is a picture of something known as emperipolesis or hemophagocytosis, where the cell has not degenerated. In the macrophage, we all know pathogenesis कि मैक्रोफेज में लाइसोसोमल वैक्यूल्स होते हैं जो मारते हैं सेल को. ये मरे नहीं है, ये एक पूरा का पूरा सॉलिड इनगल्फ हो जा रहा है विदाउट किलिंग. This phenomena can, if too much, can lead to something known as the Rosai-Dorfman disease. This phenomena, clinically correlated, meeting WHO's 8 criteria, can be named as HLH also, primary or secondary. I'll take all that in Hemat lectures when I deal with it. HLH आजकल वोग में है. कोविड जो पढ़ाया है, दे नो कि HLH कोविड में भी मिलता है. हीमोफैगोसिटिक लिम्फोहिस्टोसाइटोसिस can be life threatening, especially in pediatric population, very common. Alright, so you can go and read, I'm just showing you the images. Then this is a macrophage where RBCs khaya hua hai, again some debris laden macrophage. Now you see again this is a macrophage, it has eaten something up, not very clear. And then this is crystal pigment containing macrophage, pink are crystal. So there's something known as crystal histiocytosis. बच्चों में बहुत कॉमन होता है ये कि जब कोई मेटाबॉलिक डिसऑर्डर होता है तो नीमेनपिक एंड गाउशर्स आपने सुना हुआ है. वैसे ही there are some unknown crystals which the macrophage can eat and lead to problems and manifestations at hepatosplenomegaly, और हम सोचें कि ये लिम्फोमा है. तो ये सब सेल्स के लिए यू हैव टू बी केयरफुल. आपको स्मीयर सिर्फ लिम्फोमा के लिए नहीं देखनी है, आपको स्मीयर ईबीवी के लिए भी देखनी है, आपको स्मीयर कासलमैन के लिए भी देखनी है, आपको स्मीयर इन फैक्टर्स के लिए भी देखनी है. ओके, see now since I've told you lymphoma, I had taken examples of some metastasis. So if you get this kind of a necrotic background and you see something like this densely pink cytoplasm, small apoptotic nucleus, this is a pycnotic squamous cell, this is a dying keratinocyte. This अगर पूरे स्मीयर में सिर्फ नेक्रोसिस मिल रही है और ये मिल रहा है, then this is a metastasis. This is not an infection. This is not some lymphoma associated. This is not TB. You have to look for SCC. So correlate with the history. You can get these cells. यहाँ पे बड़ी सुंदर रोजेटिंग हो रही है, ठीक है, नॉट एग्जैक्टली रोजेटिंग, ग्लैंड फॉर्मेशन हो रहा है. अगर ये चीज ना हो और सिर्फ ये एक आध पड़े हो इनइफेक्टिव एफएनएसी, तो आप सोचोगे कोई लिम्फॉइड लीजन है. ये लिम्फॉइड लीजन नहीं है, सलाइवरी ग्लैंड का ट्यूमर है. यू विल स्लोली लर्न हाउ नेक्स्ट आई टेक सलाइवरी ग्लैंड की हाउ टू अप्रिशिएट. सो इन अ लिम्फोमा इफ यू सी अ ग्लैंडुलर पैटर्न लेकिन सेल्स लिम्फोमा के लग रहे हैं, तो दो चीज दिमाग जानी चाहिए, थायराइड एंड सलाइवरी ग्लैंड. And then later on I'll tell you how to differentiate as I take up those chapters. And then this is this again is a adeno का met है, पैक का smear लगाया है on a background of lymphoid cells. See again adenoid tumor, salivary gland का tumor है ये, ठीक है. Then I wanted to show you something really nice. This is a cluster of epithelioid cells in TB. If you look at this macrophage closely, आपको TB bacilli की ये देखो नेगेटिव इमेज दिख रही है इसमें. ये जो वाइट स्ट्रीक्स पड़ी है ना, ये कई बार अगर बहुत अच्छी स्टेनिंग हो और आप ऑयल लगा के देखो तो आप एक प्रिजम्पशन बना सकते हो कि ये जो हिस्टोसाइट की पॉपुलेशन आ रही है इसमें बिना AFB लगाए कि ये आसिफास बैसिला मिलेगा. ये ऑफ द टॉपिक था, बट दिस वाज वेरी नाइस फाइंडिंग. आई जस्ट वांटेड टू शो यू. नॉर्मली ये जो हिस्टोसिटिक क्लस्टर्स होते हैं, आप सार्कोइड, RDD, इन सब चीजों ज्यादा कंफ्यूज करोगे रादर देन लिम्फोमा. ओके, देन अनदर मेट यू सी दिस काइंड ऑफ अ टाइग्रॉइड बैकग्राउंड. इसको टाइग्रॉइड कहते हैं. बैकग्राउंड में देख लो सेक्रेशन में कैसे जैसे टाइगर के स्ट्राइप्स हो. दिस काइंड ऑफ अ टाइग्रॉइड बैकग्राउंड यू कैन गेट इन स्मॉल राउंड ब्लू सेल ट्यूमर्स ऑल्सो, यू कैन गेट इन सेमिनोमास ऑल्सो. तो आपको एज में देखना पड़ेगा. दिस इज प्रोबेबली अ इविंग्स ट्यूमर, दिस वन with a tigroid background and small cells looking like ये lymphoma होगा. And this is a seminoma actually. और इसके cells देखो कितने fragile हैं. ये lymphoma में भी fragile होते हैं, लेकिन polymorphic है, बड़े छोटे bare nuclei की तरह लग रहे हैं. ALCL में vacuoles होते हैं, well defined cell border होता है. So अगर ये कोई बुढ़ा है उसका smear है, then I'll go for seminoma. बच्चा है उसमें इस टाइप का background दिख रहा है, क्योंकि lymphoma में ये background नहीं होता है, I'll go for a Ewing's. Again, I have put a lymphoma over here. यहाँ vacuoles दिख रहे हैं. Let me rub this off. Okay, I have a pointer now. So this is a vacuolated cell. This. So I hope my pointer is visible. I didn't know I have a pointer now. Good. Again, this is this image I just gave to show you reactive-looking plasma cytoid cells. When you see this in a smear, you have to be very careful कि ये किस टाइप का प्लाज्मा सेल लीजन हो सकता है. एंड ऑफ कोर्स कोई भी चीज़ FNAC आपको सिर्फ इतना बता सकता है कि बिनाइन है कि मलिग्नेंट है. तो मुझे ऐसा स्मेयर दिखेगा. ये स्मेयर मेलानोमा में भी होता है, ऐसा ही स्मेयर एग्जैक्टली. आई जस्ट एम सेंसिटाइजिंग यू विद द इमेजेस कि अगर ऐसा कुछ दिखे ना तो आराम से सोच के मत बैठ जाओ बिनाइन होगा, इन्फेक्टिव होगा. थिंक, take history. And if you don't get anything, write a note in your report explaining your situation and what you think. Never leave your report incomplete. Okay. Okay, some other entities I wanted to tell you. कई बार lymph node में ectopic structures होते हैं, ectopic thyroid मिल सकता है, तो ऐसे में lymph node में आपको thyroid follicles मिलेंगे. ठीक है, parapretracheal lymph node में भी ectopic areas, मतलब these things are just showing you. See, this is two population of a lymph node which had on a higher power this ectopic thyroid cell also. तो ये ऐसा नहीं कि मेटास्टेसिस हो गई लिम्फ नोड. जो लिम्फ नोड्स सलाइवरी ग्लैंड के आसपास होते हैं उसमें एक्टोपिक सलाइवरी ग्लैंड का पार्ट मिल सकता है. थायराइड ग्लैंड के लिम्फ नोड्स जो आसपास होते हैं उनमें एक्टोपिक थायराइड ग्लैंड मिल सकता है. तो आपको काफी कुछ देखना पड़ेगा कि क्लिनिकल प्रेजेंटेशन क्या है, कितने लिम्फ नोड्स है, कोई फीचर तो नहीं है, ये इंसिडेंटल फाइंडिंग है क्या. एंड देन यू माइट थिंक कि हाँ दिस कुड बी एन एक्टोपिक स्ट्रक्चर. आप यहाँ पे एफएनएसी कर रहे हो थायराइड की, तो यहाँ लिम्फ नोड्स भी होते हैं और हाशिमोटोस भी होता है. तो आपको हर चीज बड़ी आपको क्लिनिशियन से ज्यादा शार्प रहना पड़ेगा एफएनएसी को इंटरप्रेट करके. दीज इमेजेस जस्ट शो यू एक्टोपिक नॉर्मल थायराइड का टिश्यू प्रेजेंट इन लिम्फ नोड, और ये होता है एम्ब्रियोजेनेसिस में, ये प्रॉब्लम आती है कभी. ओके, देन सो आई हैव टोल्ड यू बिनाइन वर्सेस मालिग्नेंट में क्या क्या इंपॉर्टेंट. लिम्फोग्लैंडुलर बॉडी सॉफ्ट क्राइटेरिया है, मालिग्नेंट में भी हो सकता है, बिनाइन में ज्यादा होता है. टिंगेबल बॉडी मैक्रोफेज अगेन सॉफ्ट क्राइटेरिया, मतलब कि 100% नहीं है, ये आपको मिल सकता है मलिग्नेंट में, लेकिन बिनाइन में ज्यादा मिलता है. मोनोटोनस पॉपुलेशन 90-100% हैज टू बी मलिग्नेंट. इंक्रीज्ड माइटोसिस अगेन मोर टुवर्ड्स मलिग्नेंट. नेक्रोसिस मलिग्नेंसी का फीचर है. प्लियोमॉर्फिज्म एटीपी अगेन मलिग्नेंसी या मेटास्टेसिस में हो सकती है. ऑफ कोर्स क्लिनिकल रेडियोलॉजिकल कोरिलेशन. Monotonous population is pointing towards a malignancy. Polymorphous population का ये मतलब नहीं है कि malignancy नहीं हो सकती, लेकिन polymorphous है और malignancy नहीं लग रही है, 100% benign है. Monomorphic है और आपको लग रहा है malignancy नहीं है, ऐसा नहीं हो सकता. ठीक है. Again, ALCL versus a reactive lymph node. You can see these big cells over here and how you can confuse with an ALCL का cell. Always look for these vacuoles, background population, other cells and clinical history. And अगर still confused हो तो note में जरूर डाल दो कि rule out करा लो. अच्छा, this is quickly cell block. There are two techniques. What I follow, I'll tell you. पहले मैं ये techniques बता दूँ. अगार method है and cell blocking का एक other technique है. In agar method, what you do is you have to take agar, you have to take your material, you have to cytospin it, remove the agar, let the cell button fix, and then process that button as in the formalin as a soft tissue, मतलब as a tissue piece. agar में ही इसको डिसॉल्व करके सेंट्रीफ्यूज करके अगार हटा देना है. अगर कॉस्टली होता है. So what you can do is you have सबको बाल फ्लूइड है या कुछ भी है आपके पास, वो एलिकॉट में है, आपने उसको सेंट्रीफ्यूज में चला दिया. ठीक है, 1500 to 2500 पे चला लो. सुपरनेटिंग डिकैंट कर दो, जो बेस में फ्लूइड बचा है, ठीक है, पिपेटिंग से डिकैंट कर लो उसमें. अब ये टेक्निक भी मैं नहीं करती हूँ, बट ये टेक्निक 90% लोग करते हैं. अब ये जो तुम्हारा बेस में बटन बचा है उसमें प्लाज्मा और थ्रोम्बिन ऐड कर दो. ठीक है, या अगेन वही मेल्टेड अगार ऐड कर दो, व्हाटएवर यू हैव अवेलेबल, ताकि ये क्लॉट को इनिशिएट करेगा. एंड व्हेन दिस बटन फॉर्म्स अ प्रॉपर क्लॉट, चाहे अगार में किया हो, अगार में करने के बाद रेफ्रिजरेट कर दो, तो ये जो बटन बना है ना, इसको फिर ये यहाँ पे अगार में रेफ्रिजरेट करके एक बटन बन जाएगा और यहाँ पे प्लाज्मा थ्रोम्बिन डालने से बटन बन जाएगा. उस बटन को फिर फॉर्मलिन में फिक्स करके सेल ब्लॉक चला दो. नाउ लेट मी टेल यू व्हाट आई डू. आई टेक माई फ्लूइड और वट एवर आई हैव द मटीरियल, जो भी मुझे जिसका सेल ब्लॉक बनाना है, और उसको मैं एक फिल्टर पेपर पे लेके फॉर्मलिन उसके ऊपर फिल्टर करके ड्रिप करने देती हूँ. सपोजिंग बाल फ्लूइड है तो मैंने फनल में फिल्टर पेपर लगाया, उसमें बाल फ्लूइड डाला, फॉर्मलिन डाला, और दोनों को इकट्ठे में ड्रिप करने देती हूँ. नीचे सुपरनेटेड कलेक्ट हो जाएगा आपका, एंड जो बचेगा आपके फिल्टर पेपर में उसको मैं ब्लॉक बना देती हूँ, बिकॉज मैं इतना प्लाज्मा एंड थ्रोम्बिन नहीं यूज करती. दिस इज माई मेथड. कहीं डॉक्यूमेंटेड नहीं है, बट आई हैव गॉटन वेरी गुड रिजल्ट्स विद इट. यू कैन ट्राई. दिस इज मोर फॉर बाल फ्लूइड्स एंड प्लूरल फ्लूइड एंड यूरिन में देखना है आपको, असाइटिक फ्लूइड है उसमें ये बड़ा हेल्पफुल होता है. ठीक है. सो दिस इज हाउ यू प्रिपेयर अ सेल ब्लॉक. ब्लड में भी आप यही काम कर सकते हो. कुछ लोग कहते हैं ब्लड को लाइज कर दो. यू कैन पुट सम लाइजिंग एजेंट एंड देन यू डू द सेम थिंग. बट आई डोंट नो, आई नेवर डन दैट. दैट कुड बी यूजफुल. आप करके ट्राई देख सकते हैं कि जब आप कहीं से मानिए एस्पिरेट में ब्लड भी आ गया है तो उसको लाइज कर दीजिए एसीटोन या किसी चीज से, फॉर्मलिन के साथ ड्रिप होने दीजिए एंड देन सेल ब्लॉक बना के देख लीजिए. आई डोंट नो व्हाट द इफेक्ट ऑन अदर सेल्स विल बी. मुझे ब्लड उतना बड़ा हिंड्रेंस नहीं लगता है जब सेल ब्लॉक बन जाता है, तो इसलिए मैं लाइज नहीं करती. ओके. सो हियर अगेन यू हैव टू स्पिन. वही मैंने कहा 1500 से 2500 पे यू पॉली सुपरनेटेंट बफर्ड फॉर्मलिन डालना है. अगेन यू कैन spin it after the buffered formalin. That you can do, yes, a good button is formed for 30 to 60 minutes, and then you process the filter paper जिसमें वो block बना है as a tissue. So yeah, thank you. This is still a 45-minute long cytopathology lecture. These are my referencing sites, and of course I forgot to mention Orell's. One of the image was from Orell's. Thank you so much for all your support. Please supporting me like this, please encouraging me, and your comments are most welcome. I'll keep trying and improving myself with whatever you tell me to do. So I'll stop this lecture now, and thank you so much for your patient listening.